Morning. Howdy. Howdy. Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our gathering music. Morning Has Broken, hymn number 38 in that great hymnal you have in your hands. Welcome everybody. How's the pollen treating you? Okay. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough, UUCH, the place with the yurts. In this place with the yurts, we strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek a supportive community in which to examine life's big questions and challenges. Here, we don't worship in one specific way each week, and we don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief. Rather, we are a community bound by covenants or promises that we make to one another to be kind, loving, trustworthy, and open-minded as we collectively and individually engage in this lifelong quest for truth and meaning. By aspiring to live into these promises, we become one cohesive, loving community of seekers and sages. We are all growing, all learning, all integral parts of this loving circle. Just as you are, wherever you are, for whatever reason you came today, you are welcome. Special shout out for getting that camera rolling. Thank you very much, Tessa. So let's take a moment to turn to and see those sitting around you and welcome each other with a heartfelt good morning. Good morning. All right, that's enough. Stop. All right. My name is Steve Mahaley, and I'm the worship coordinator for today's service. As a lay-led congregation, lay-led, we operate as a rowdy bunch of volunteers, each giving generously of their time and unique talents. We volunteers are corralled and supported by our paid staff, which includes Aviva, our music director. I want to introduce Sarah in a minute. And Amy, our program administrator, and Tessa, and Annabelle, and Avery, who I don't think is here at the moment. Our student interns. Today, I would love to spotlight the RE team, which is led by our fearless Aurora Tennyson, who is at this very moment. She's here! Even better. Aurora Tennyson, who is at this very moment right over there, not teaching our whole lives program to the 4th through 6th graders. And Shauna Saunders and Heather Kraft are also the backbone members of the RE team. Would RE team members in this sanctuary please raise your hands? Yay! And I would like to also welcome our guest musician, Sarah Zelita. Sarah, thank you so much for being here. We have multiple other teams who take care of everything from teaching our kids to delivering meals to mowing the lawn. If you are not yet on one of those teams, please think about how you might get involved. And guess what I have right up here? Serving on the team is a way to get to know others, have some fun, and feel even more connected to this wonderful community. Let's give a big thank you to everyone who has ever pitched in to sustain this place. Okay, let's slow this thing down. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our featured speaker today, Hal Crowther. Hal resides here in Hillsborough with his wife Lee Smith, and has spent many years delighting his readers with stories, biographies, and exquisitely crafted rants. He has a rich history of experiences as a screenwriter and columnist, and I personally am so thrilled to be introducing him as a young person. I was young at one point, growing up in the countryside of Chatham County. Hal's column in the Spectator magazine buoyed me, at times sharpening my anger, at other times amplifying my joy, but almost always giving me some hope and a chuckle. I might say something, I might say something about the Freedom Riders book that he has out right now, which is fabulous. So if you haven't seen that yet, go get one. Today, Hal will be sharing some of his work with us in a talk entitled Bible Belt Blues, the local intersection of politics and theology. Super timely. We are in for a treat. Welcome, Hal. All right. So, last bit before announcements. Each Sunday after our sermon, we take up a monetary offering to support various worthy causes. For the month of April, 100% of our plate offering in that basket that's going to go around later will go to the Orange Congregations in Mission, also known as OCIM. OCIM provides a local food pantry and some direct assistance to residents. They are also the local provider of Meals on Wheels. Many of our members deliver for Meals on Wheels, and some have even been recipients of such. It is a wonderful service to offer folks who do not drive and to get a hot meal and see a friendly face every once in a while. So, that's going to OCIM today, so give generously when it comes around. Now, before we create our time of worship, I'd like to remind everyone that after the service, we will offer tea and coffee in the back over there, to get to know each other even more. If you are visiting today, please consider staying so we can get to know you a little bit better. Also, please take a moment to look at your order of service on the back, right in here. There's lots of great announcements there. Amy's kicking it out with the e-news every week. Awesome. And finally now, it's a great time to make sure your mobile phone is on worship mode, otherwise silenced or turned off. So we have announcements on the back of the order of service. You have it in the e-news. If there's any other announcements we need to make for the good of the community, now's the time.
Good morning, everyone. I am Amy. And I'm shorter than Steve. Couple of things. Ministry Council is meeting after service today in the library, so please join me there if you're on our Ministry Council. And my other announcement today is that I will not be here for the next 2 weeks of services. I'm having surgery on my stupid foot on the 11th. So I won't be able to be here for Founders Day, but I will do all the behind the scenes stuff. And then the following week is our flower communion, which is what this congregation does every Easter, followed by an egg hunt. And as that's a big holiday, I will be home with my family on that day. But I'm still here. So, continue to email and call and stuff, and I will do things in the background. I think that's all. Thank you.
Hello, I am Alicia. I have multiple things that I am hosting this month in April. The first of which is tonight we will have game night at our house. I know usually in the past we've had game night on the third weekend of the month, but that will be Easter. Next week is Passover. So we decided to just do it the first weekend of the month this month, and maybe going forward we will continue to do it on the first weekend of the month. That seems to be good for people scheduling wise. But anyway, tonight we're having game night at our house. If you want to come, you're all invited. Please let me know if you need my address so that you can come. Usually we start around 6, but we're open to people just dropping in whenever they want to play games. That's the first thing. The second thing is next week on Saturday, April 12th, I'm going to be hosting a Passover Seder here, and that will be at 4 p.m. And while RSVPs are not required, they are appreciated so that I know how much stuff to buy and how to set up tables. And so far, I've only had a handful of RSVPs, and usually I have like around 20 to 25 folks come. So if you are planning to come or think you might come, if you can let me know so that I kind of can plan that better, that would be great. And then the third thing is on the 27th. I know, I'm like,
Who are you impersonating?
I'm doing a lot of things in April. On the 27th, we're having a speaker here from Blind Spot Animal Sanctuary, and then afterwards we are planning a field trip to go up to Blind Spot that afternoon and have animal enrichment. So that's an opportunity for people of all ages, especially children, to read to animals, to tell stories to animals if you're not of reading age, to sing songs to animals if you are musical, just basically hang out with animals and enrich their lives. Pigs are very smart and loving creatures. They're very similar to dogs in that way, and so if you like hanging out with dogs, you'll probably also like hanging out with pigs. But if you want to do that, I have a volunteer waiver form because I guess there are risks associated with hanging out with animals, and so we have to fill out waiver forms. And so I have a pile of these on the back table. If you can fill out a waiver form, they would like a head count from us a week ahead of time, so I would also like RSVPs for that event. Thank you.
All that's in the newsletter too, for RSVPing and stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, well, she's covered a few of the things I was going to say. I do actually have one more thing. This is coming from G for Justice. Following last week's town hall, we've decided that going forward we should try and create a UUCH little free pantry here on the building grounds.
Oh.
And so
I didn't think we decided that. I thought we talked about it.
So the next few months are going to be filled firstly with some planning and operations. So like, how is it going to work? Where's it going to go? How are we going to get the resources to do that? Then we're going to put the damn thing together. Where's it going to go? We need a box, we need a sign, it needs to be accessible. And then following that, there will be outreach to our local community, making sure people recognize that it exists. It is a resource here for people. We get the word out, make sure that people know of it and we can use it. So if any of that interests you at all, please reach out to the Justice Team, get yourself involved, help us out, create this wonderful thing.
Thanks, Jean.
Thanks, Jean.
Sorry, I have something that's not in the newsletter. I can't go to the Minco meeting. I am hosting the graduates who are about to graduate high school this afternoon at my house to plan their graduation celebration here that is on June 8th. It has been a long time since I had a graduate around me from high school. So if you have ideas, if you have done this before, Shauna Saunders, please send me ideas about how to do that soon, because I'm feeding them lunch. So they'll have ideas. Sometimes 8-year-olds don't always have the best ideas.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aurora. One quick announcement. We are having the egg hunt, but before we have the egg hunt, we need people to do things with the eggs. So we have a big stash of eggs. Heather is graciously coordinating all this, so if you can help Heather either stuff eggs like at least like a week-ish before,
Next week.
or next week. That would be helpful. And if you could help hide eggs, this is a great opportunity for youth who may want to be involved, who are a little too old to egg hunt but might still want to distribute eggs. But anyone who wants to distribute eggs is welcome too. So just talk to Heather if you're interested in helping out with either of those things. And there's a sign up also in the e-news that you can put your name and contact information on.
Wow, lots of great stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
Thank you all. So if there are no more announcements, let's prepare ourselves for our time of reflection and celebration by reminding ourselves of who we are and why we gather. We are Unitarian Universalists. Unitarian Universalism draws from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. As with each service, we begin by lighting our chalice. I was looking at Mary. I was like, no, Mary. Mary, would you please? The following is called On the Brink by Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create: a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life that we share. And now please stand in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life. I'm sorry, that's number 95. Let's do it.
Number 123.
I was right, 123.
Chaos.
Chaos. 1, 2, 3.
It's 1, 2, 3. You should know this song. Spirit of life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in the heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the air, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. It's beautiful. Thank you for that, especially the baritones over here. Sharing joys and sorrows is a special ritual included in our Sunday services. By taking time to share, whether spoken or unspoken, we strengthen the bonds between us. The ritual happens in 2 parts. Each part includes dropping a stone in the vase on the altar, symbolizing a metaphoric communal collection of our experiences. The first part of the ritual makes time for individuals to share out loud. Rest assured that we do not record what is shared out loud. Therefore, for those joining online, there will be a short break while folks here speak. If you are joining us online and would like to share your joys or concerns with us here in the room, just please type it into the YouTube chat and tell us if you would like it read aloud, and we will do so and drop a stone for you. Before we begin our time to share aloud, please take a moment to center yourselves, collect your thoughts. We gently ask that what you share this morning be personal, heartfelt, and Acknowledge your joys or sorrows remaining in your hearts, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Sarah plays I Know This Rose Will Open. After she plays through it once, we will join in singing this meditation song, and those words are printed right here in your order of service. Sarah? We hold all that has been shared, both spoken and unspoken, within the heart of this community. Let's spend a moment in silence as we consider how to respond with warmth and compassion. We close this ritual by saying together, Amen, and blessed be. Amen.
Amen. Blessed be.
Now I'd like to ask Shauna or Heather to come up and tell us what the kids are going to be doing in religious exploration today. Then we will bless them on their way.
Today we're going to be learning about UU Superman and practicing for a song that the early birds are going to sing next week.
Christopher Reeve was a UU.
Uh-huh. And we're going to sing the kids to class with the children's blessing, which is in the back cover of your gray hymnal.
Awesome.
And the order of service, right?
Yes, in the order, sir.
And
Great. We're going to sing the children to our class. Sarah, lead us along. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice while you go your way in peace. While you go your way in peace. Thank you very much. And now, I'd like to welcome our speaker today, Al Crowther, to the pulpit to share his Bible Belt Blues. Al.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this at the right?
Yep.
Good morning, and thank you, Steve, for the very generous introduction, and for warning me that your congregation's April theme is joy. Which, as those of you familiar with my work may be aware, is not exactly my department. But it's reassuring to know that someone remembers the heyday of The Spectator. I could write a 3-act play about the experience of working with the wild man who called himself Mr. Spectator, who once sent a working stripper into my office to perform for my birthday. But what endeared the place to me, after laboring under layers of Uber editors at places like Time and Newsweek and the Washington Post was my first opportunity to express my opinions unedited, unmuzzled, unsecond-guessed. For a writer like me, and I can't say whether this is a strength or a weakness, this was like a whole new tank of oxygen. I'm sure that I abused my privilege, but I come from very opinionated, unrepressed people. My grandfather, a small-town attorney, treated the whole human race like a low comedy performed solely for his amusement. He was a pillar of the Pullman Memorial Universalist Church in Albion, New York, where his wife played the organ. Tradition holds that through her, I'm a distant cousin to Mary Baker Eddy, though there were no Christian Scientists in the family that I knew. My father, the professor, liked to air his political opinions in restaurants in a loud voice that challenged anyone at a nearby table to disagree. I remember one night when he was disparaging Lyndon Johnson, and a man walked over to call him out. The only big thing about my father was his mouth. But the man retreated when my brother and I, large men both, stood up from our chairs. A pulpit is not a place where I'm used to expressing myself, though I did once apply to divinity school before cooler heads prevailed. But I've been known to bill myself only half in jest as a freelance theologian. I minored in comparative religion at college, and I've written extensively on religious subjects, often arguing with myself. Look at the titles of some of my books: Cathedrals of Kudzu, Gather at the River, and the upcoming Bible Belt Blues with a chapter titled Stations of the Cross. The heroes and heroines of my last collection included a Catholic priest, a nun, and a Baptist minister, the late Will Campbell, one of my idols. Most of the players in this next collection are villains, but the most prominent good guys are the Berrigan brothers, two radical Catholic priests. But a professional critic remains a critic even in church. I recently attended a funeral service for one of my neighbors at St. Matthew's in Hillsborough. I've got nothing against Episcopalians. My mother was one until my father steered her to the UUs. But I couldn't help noting the emphasis, the recurrent theme of the afterlife. For a high church believer, I guess the blessed afterlife is the whole goal, and the life itself is just a painful prelude, a kind of warm-up. That's the way it sounded to me, and this resembles uncomfortably the doctrine the Catholic Church preached to sustain feudalism, to keep the starving peasants at work and in line. You may be wretched now, my children, but peace, joy, and light await you on high, just around the dark corner we call death. It troubles me. I think we should focus most of our idealism and spiritual energy on this life, the only life we can in any way control. Good deeds and compassion, yes, but political passion too. The United States of America suffers from the recurrent and very much current truth of the line from William Butler Yeats' great poem, The Second Coming. Quote, "The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity." Amen to that. Reasonable people tend to be more restrained and polite than unreasonable people. In dark times like the one we're now experiencing in this country, reason doesn't get much of a hearing, while harsh prejudice and violent ignorance air at top volume on 50 channels. The very significant block of voters who call themselves evangelicals, and also Christians as if they were the only ones, have committed the most obscene, indigestible act of mass hypocrisy in American history, selling their souls to the ungodly, unhinged anti-Messiah who currently profanes our White House. How can the reasonable, the conscientious, the well-meaning hope to respond? Talk is cheap, never cheaper than in these chaotic decades since the arrival of the internet and the so-called global village. But some of us keep trying. If you'll forgive me for a digression into self-promotion, the collection of essays I'm publishing in November is titled Bible Belt Blues, and it takes its name from an essay in the Oxford American, where I try to explain certain strains of Southern religion, especially the ones that have been politicized. I'm going to quote myself for a few minutes. They call it the global village. Nothing goes unobserved. Nothing is without distant consequences. A man throws a rock in Pretoria, another man ducks in Helsinki. In Gainesville, Florida, a fundamentalist minister with a double-digit IQ burns a Quran for the amusement of 3 dozen malnourished illiterates who make up his congregation. And in Mazar-e-Sharif, Afghanistan, a mob of Muslim fanatics slaughtered 12 United Nations workers to avenge this insult to the Prophet. Pastor Terry Jones of the ironically named Dove World Outreach Center had his burning videotaped, of course, and streamed on the church's website. This tiny spark launched online took less than 2 weeks to become a conflagration halfway around the planet. The day after the massacre at the UN compound, thousands of protesters rioted in Kandahar. 9 more people died, 80 were injured. The final body count from Pastor Terry's stupidity exceeded American military casualties in Iraq for that month. It's not unfair to say that there are more and deadlier idiots in Kandahar than in Gainesville. But the point is that the global village harbors 1 million village idiots, and no idiot is an island, not anymore. Pastor Terry was bewildered by the news that he had triggered religious murders, as bewildered as he might be if he ever reads the whole Quran and discovers that he incinerated 25 references to his Lord Jesus Christ, all of them positive and respectful. At least Muhammad was an admirer of Jesus and an interpreter of his teachings. Linguistic correspondences between their names and similarities in their legends persuade some scholars of monotheism that Jesus and Muhammad, both elusive historically, are semi-mythical embodiments of the same religious tradition. Scholars don't get a lot of pulpit time in the Bible Belt, though educated Southerners despise as much as any of the stereotypes that still marginalize the people. The image of the heavy-breathing, possibly randy evangelist serving up hellfire to a congregation of barefoot believers with lint in their hair is one that an industrious Yankee reporter can still substantially corroborate in most communities in the Dixie heartland. From Gainesville all the way up to Winchester, Virginia, where the late Joe Badgett, a unique redneck radical, the author of Deer Hunting with Jesus, he affectionately chronicled his brother, the preacher's, adventures as an exorcist of demons. Jimmy Swaggart, Oral Roberts, Jerry Falwell, Jim Baker, Tammy Faye and company actually walked these hills and thumped these Bibles. They are not fictional characters like Elmer Gantry or comic page caricatures like Al Capp's Mary and Sam and Walt Kelly's Deacon Mushrat. The unctuous, nausea-inducing Pat Robertson, who blamed 911 and Hurricane Katrina on God's anger at America's homosexuals, has devoted his whole life to embarrassing the South far more painfully than Terry Jones and his flaming Quran. Evangelical religion of an extreme stripe, fire and brimstone, biblical inerrancy thrives in far corners of the Republic, but the South is its wellspring and its homeland. A county-by-county map of America constructed for the book Our Patchwork Nation indicates that nearly all the counties colored brown for evangelical epicenters are in the traditional South and the border state of Missouri. Religion has been the South's second greatest embarrassment after race. Unfortunately, they've been closely linked. We can never afford to forget that those were crosses the Ku Klux Klan burned at their rallies and lynchings. And there's no denying that most segregationist Protestants of the Jim Crow generation believed that heaven itself was segregated. When Rob Bell, the influential pastor of an evangelical megachurch, suggested in his book Love Wins that it's high time Christians set aside archaic notions of a literal, sulfurous, demon-infested hell, all hell broke loose in the southern synod. They cling passionately to their inferno, these least and cruelest of our Christian brethren, because there's no way on earth that they can take adequate revenge on those of us who disagree with them. Though they claim to love us and hope to save us in spite of ourselves. Hell is the sturdy keystone of gloomy Calvinism. But not all evangelicals, or even all Southern Baptists, find spiritual comfort in the damnation of others. If we groan and hang our heads over Pat Robertson and Terry Jones, we might stand up and cheer for Christian splinter sects like the Primitive Baptist Universalists of Southwest Virginia, who were 100 years ahead of Rob Bell in banishing the devil from their theology. Known disrespectfully as the no-hellers to their Christian neighbors, they practice the beautiful heresy of universalism, which holds that all souls originate with God and all return to him without exception. Love wins. Never numerous but tenacious in a theologically hostile environment, these mountain Christians hold services characterized by hugging, laughing, crying, and affirming their belief that, quote, people of all creeds, colors, and nationalities will share heaven with us. The great bluegrass musician Ralph Stanley was a member of one of these congregations. Could any Christian testament be more appealing or humane? Regrettably, the no-hellers seem to number in the hundreds, fewer even than the snake handlers in their native mountains, while sinner-burning churches of the born-again right enroll Southerners by the tens of millions. Many more books will be written about the American preference for harsh, punitive religion, while the rest of the Western world moves toward liberal theology or none at all. In the South, we lose our way entirely when retro religion mates with reactionary politics, a marriage made in hell that produces Rosemary's Babies like Jerry Falwell. What impression would the right-wing t-shirt, babies, guns, Jesus, make on poor Jesus, a radical rabbi not known to have fathered babies or even to have carried a sword, far less an assault rifle? We've gone from the cross to the crosshairs. Lord have mercy. Southern fundamentalists have bonded with the Tea Party and politicized their pulpits, ignoring the stern warnings of Thomas Jefferson, a Universalist sympathizer who believed the separation of church and state was the one indispensable cornerstone of democracy. According to his biographer, religious historian Edmund Gostad, Jefferson had an undying anxiety of anything that would bring church and state together. He was not against religion. He was against any combination of power with religion. As Muslims, homosexuals, illegal immigrants, a non-white president, and women's reproductive rights face the righteous wrath of its captive politicians, the Christian right is morphing rapidly into the American Taliban. And it's morphing in full view of a global village that wishes, for the most part, believe it or not, to see the United States in the best possible light. But Terry Jones never travels to the Middle East, and now if he's remotely sane, he never will. Of all things most unique and interesting about the southern states, Hellfire Christianity is one export which has strived to keep out of the global marketplace, if it's not already too late. Yet there are intriguing hints of the thaw of a new diversity here in the old Confederacy, or even Episcopalians are suspected of subversive doctrines. Will the Bible Belt gradually unbuckle? In our home state of North Carolina, at Fort Bragg of all places, a thriving atheist group called MASH, Military Atheists and Secular Humanists, is raising money for a concert billed as Rock Beyond Belief, it features 3 rock bands and a speech by the British biologist and atheist author Richard Dawkins. MASH claims that 20% of Fort Bragg soldiers are non-believers. When soldiers in North Carolina bill themselves as secular humanists, we begin to suspect that Jesse Helms is actually dead. Back in his heyday, secular humanist was right-wing code for Jew. A UNC professor of religion, Bart Ehrman, writes books explaining that the Bible is a deceptive literary grab bag authored by just about everyone except God. Though Dr. Ehrman is constantly reviled in letters to the editor, so far no one has tried to lynch him. These are rays of light in a state where the Constitution specifically prohibits non-believers from holding public office. The increasing visibility of religious skeptics encourages me as a fellow traveler. But I guess I betray my age when I shy away from the word atheist. It was used as a slur when it was directed against my father's family of Universalists 50 years ago. Atheist, I probably replied, oh no, look, there's our church with the stained glass windows, carved pulpit, big organ where my grandmother plays the hymns. We're Christians just like you. Not just like you, exactly, because the Unitarian Universalists revere Christ, but deny his divinity, like Muslims. And my grandparents' fancy church was one of a kind among free thinkers, built with the generous participation of a billionaire parishioner, the railroad baron George Pullman. I don't mean to claim that Universalists faced active discrimination, as Muslims or Hindus might have. This congregation was distinctly middle class, but there was an understanding that even the children of Universalists should avoid theology in casual conversation. On the other hand, we were led to understand that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Abraham Lincoln were our soul brothers, even if they never joined the church, and reminded that the membership included John Quincy Adams, Millard Fillmore, William Howard Taft, and Adlai Stevenson. This distinguished liberal family might be a prideful stretch in some ways, but a simple truth that the Christian right deplores is that America was not founded or defined by holy rollers. Universalism is still dear to me. I think it's inspiring that Enlightenment intellectuals and unlettered Appalachian Baptists arrived at the same sweet doctrine from entirely different traditions and assumptions. But atheist is a title that I never coveted. The best-selling authors like Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens seem immodestly confrontational to me, and the God they reject, the alpha male with a lot of attitude and a lot of rules, is an easy target, kind of unworthy of their intellects. The grumpy God who rewards or punishes is a children's God, designed like the devil to make simple people behave. More challenging definitions of God have enriched the theological conversation for a long, long time. Back in the 17th century, the Jewish philosopher Baruch Spinoza, sitting grinding lenses in his shop in The Hague, conceived of a God inseparable from nature, from creation. God is the world, sums up his interpretation. Contemporaries describe the ascetic genius Spinoza as a God-intoxicated man, and his God encompassed everything that humbled humanity and stretched the limits of its understanding and imagination. Though agnostic is a label that concedes human ignorance in a modest way I respect, I'd rather be called a pantheist. Spinoza, like Emerson, like Einstein. God is the awareness of the infinite in each of us. Annie Dillard wrote once. And that simple formula works for me. I may be ignorant and skeptical, but I'm not insensible, not incurious, not emptied of spiritual potential. In a nutshell, not a hard shell. That's how it looks to me now, with final things not so far ahead as they used to be. What's the difference between my testimony and the preaching of Pat Robertson or even Billy Graham? For one thing, there's not a missionary bone in my body. If everyone who read this suddenly decided that I was 100% right, I'd begin to lose confidence that I was on the right track. The biggest problem with organized religions, especially with fundamentalist religions, from Gainesville to Kandahar, is they require and compel consensus. The important part of religion is what you believe when you're in your room alone, not what you profess to believe in a crowd of believers. Alone in that room, your remote corner of the all-wired global village, you can send out a spiritual message in search of a soulmate. Or to be on the safe side, you can even keep it to yourself. As I know I'll manage to do someday soon.
Thank you. And it really brings to mind what Tammy shared earlier about, expressing UUism to people who are curious without the missionary bones. But thank you. Thank you, Hal. Now we're going to do our offertory. Let me catch up here. As I said earlier, our offertory goes to OCIM, Food Pantry and Meals on Wheels. Please donate by placing checks or cash in the offering basket. I'm going to pass that around in a sec. If by check, please write plate in the memo line, or you can go to our website. The QR code's on the back of the order of service, unch.nc.org. Click donate. And thank you for your generosity. We are going to pass the basket, and Sarah Salita is going to provide for us a fantastic piece of music. I actually went and listened to this before we came in here today. A beautiful piece by Eric Satie. Thank you, Sarah. blessing for the offertory. The words are in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us this morning, for the beauty of this day, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Let's do our closing hymn, but bring some energy into it, people. We're going to have some coffee right after it, okay? Ready? We're going to do, see what the number is. I think it's 168.
Yes.
All right. It's called One More Step. Please stand in body or in spirit. These are the closing words. This is by Rabindranath Tagore, the first non-European Nobel Prize winner for literature in 1913. And he wrote, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." How you feeling? Right? So we're going to extinguish the chalice. Hal, would you come, please? Please join me in as we extinguish the chalice. The words are in your order. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, good friends. Blessed be.